What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be talking about what it means to have the Mars squaring your partner's Mars in SYNASTRY. So having the Mars square Mars SYNASTRY with somebody can be an aspect that can be very positive in some ways, but it can also come with a lot of challenges, and the challenges can be more pronounced with the square between the Mars. And with this Mars square Mars, it can be easier, especially if both of the partners or at least one of them has their Mars in a mutable sign. It can be easier to work with. With having Mars squaring your partner's Mars, what can make it challenging especially is that both of the partners can have very strong-willed characters, and they can have different ways of approaching things and even different ways of taking action and making decisions because of that different way of approaching things to begin with. And so what can happen is that they can have different points of views, and it can be very difficult to see things from the other partner's side or points of view. And with Mars, we're really dealing with a planet that's very action-oriented and very driven, and that can be why some tension can come up when it is meeting up with somebody else's Mars in a square. And the wants and needs of one partner can be very different to the wants and needs of another partner. And at first, the variety traits that comes with the differences that they have can be very appealing to them, and they can have this really strong sense of being drawn to each other, and that can be how they at first come together. But then over time, that is when they begin to see that perhaps they have different wants and they want different things, and the expectations can be very different. And it can feel like any efforts that either one of the partners are putting into the relationship feels like it's being directly opposed, or it's being hindered by the other partner's actions and the choices that the other partner is making, which can kind of get very frustrating because it feels like they're just always misunderstanding each other. They can just have very different styles when it comes to relating, and they can have very different ways of expressing themselves, and it's noticeable with this. Like having your Mars in a cardinal sign with somebody else's Mars that's also in a cardinal sign, but it's meeting up in a square, then this can lead to power struggles and really some kind of conflict over the way in which they want to approach things, because with the cardinal signs, they want to be able to lead. So they can have butting of heads, or they can clash in that. With the square, one person may want to take a more spontaneous approach, and one person may want to plan things out before acting. And the one who wants to take a spontaneous approach could feel really restricted by the other. For instance, if somebody had their Mars in Capricorn and somebody else had their Mars in a sign like Aries, it can really get challenging with this Mars square Mars SYNASTRY aspect between your Mars and somebody else. And if the partners really did want to work it out, then they could even come to find that middle ground if they're willing to compromise. And they can also come to find that they can learn a lot from each other's different styles of approaching things, and it can definitely work. They can be that middle ground. It's gonna bring a mix between tension and passion between the partners, but this SYNASTRY placement can be responsible for the partners having a lot of disagreements and a lot of fights. And their disagreements can be very strong, and they can also be very frequent. This relationship can sometimes feel like it's really testing the partners' patience, that it can really teach both of the partners a different way of handling differences or disagreements between them, and a different way of expressing themselves when it comes to each other. And with the SYNASTRY, the two partners, they can quickly get into the conversations and the discussions about how they can treat each other better, and how they can compromise, and even how they can make their goals for their own personal lives kind of align with each other in a way that's going to cater for each other, and it's going to be also making the relationship stronger in the long run, as opposed to some other Mars aspects. They get into that pretty quickly, which can be very positive because it can save a lot of time, and also they can deepen their relationship, and they can also have really good communication because they're actively working on it, because there's that sense of tension and getting through the tough times, especially working through it with the other partner with this aspect is going to mean that the relationship gets stronger, it deepens the connection over time. And the synastry between two people's Mars can also make for a lot of growth, because they're also going to have their self-awareness, and their communication between the two partners is going to keep getting better over time if they choose to work with the synastry and make it work between the two partners. And sure, with the synastry, there can be a lot of clashes or batting of heads, or them kind of having a lot of disagreements. But with that, over time, it turns into less of a fight or conflict, disagreements, but more of like a dance. And it's like they are beginning to understand each other and learning to really consider each other when it comes to their disagreements or their different ways of tackling the different things in their relationship that they go through together. So they are learning a new way of being able to relate to each other and just be together and find a way to meet in the middle. Well, that does it for this video on having the Mars squaring your partner's Mars in synastry. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it and you found it helpful. If you did, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe to this channel for more videos. That is where I love and leave you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye guys.